Chapter 11, Worlds Apart. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Clarke stands in the doorway, his usual smirk, nowhere to be seen as you reel from the news he just told you. You're going back to Ishmar? I thought your visit was going well. Far better than I expected, which ended up being the problem. My parents have ordered me home. They've been following the press coverage about my stay here, about us spending so much time together. It seems they're having second thoughts about trying to turn over a new leaf with Monterey. But wasn't this courtship the whole reason they sent you here in the first place? It was. I don't pretend to know exactly what they're thinking, but it's typical in politics. People say one thing, then do another. So that's it. They just say jump, and you just have to go? You of all people should understand that when royal duty is involved, we rarely get to do what we want. I'm afraid this is goodbye, Princess. But Monterey and Ishmar were supposed to have a chance. I was supposed to have more time. Clarke takes your hand, pressing his lips to it in a farewell kiss. When you get an idea that's genius or disastrous. Wait, what if you took me with you? What? Take me to Ishmar with you. We can convince your parents to send you back. Clarke, our kingdoms deserve a second chance. My parents don't particularly care about Monterey's second chances. But they must have thought Ishmar needed one. Otherwise, they would have never sent you. Please, Clarke, won't you at least let me try? This is one of those things you're going to be stubborn about, isn't it? Yes it is. He looks like he's about to argue, but then his mouth twists wryly. I suppose it can't make the situation any worse. Just promise me you won't get your hopes up. I'd hate for you to be disappointed when my parents show you how life really works at court. The next day, at a castle high in Ishmari's mountainous capital. I have to meet Clarke's parents in 10 minutes and I regret everything. So, you'll see why we need to call it back up, Princess Laws. Rose's voice crackles over Aveline's phone with a sigh. It was a risky decision, asking Clarke to bring you to Ishmar, but obviously I'm here to help you succeed. For Monterey's sake, and for my sister's. It still feels so weird to hear you say that. Good weird, like I'm gonna wake up from this dream any minute weird. I know that feeling. Unfortunately, my last visit to Ishmar was less than ideal. As a child, I may have had a few minor fox paws. But let's just say that since then, I've extensively studied Ishmari customs, so not to repeat my childhood mistakes. When you introduce yourself, make sure you bow to the king and the queen, rather than a curtsy. Ishmar is big on tradition, so be polite and keep a very respectful distance if anyone starts dancing with swords. I'm sorry, dancing with what? So I need to avoid being stabbed, and impress Clarke's parents enough that they'll let him come back. Easy. Well, when you put it like that, I was gonna hang up and do your riveting homework, but what if I stayed with you over an earpiece? That way I could give you all pointers all night. It'd be like when you helped me excel on your history presentation, only this time I'd help you. I think a diplomatic meeting with royalty is a little more high stakes than my history class. Speak for yourself, that presentation was terrifying. I'll take royalty any day. Yes, please. I'd rather not do this alone. And I'd love to be there for your big event, away from Monterey, at least in a virtual sense. I have a great deal of sisterly support to catch up on, now that we found each other. Basically, it'll just be her chiming in and telling you things you already know. Aveline gives you an earpiece to discreetly tuck in your ear, and she fusses around you, adjusting your outfit. You can do this, Daisy. You've fooled Monterey's old court this far, haven't you? Yeah, but everyone there likes Rose except for Cecil. From what Clarke said, his family is way harder to please. There's a sudden knock on the door. When you open it, Clarke greets you with a formal bow. Hello, Princess. I hope your quarters are sufficient. Nice armaments you're wearing there. Rose's intrigued voice softly crackles through your earpiece. I don't remember Clarke being concerned over my comfort the last time I was in Ishmar. Listen, they're bonding. Shh. They're lovely. Thank you for arranging them on such short notice. You don't need to thank me for finding your room in the lion's den, but since I've convinced my parents not to immediately kick you out of the castle, you're ready to face the music. Clarke, I was born ready. That's awfully confident of you. Fake it till you make it, right? Pretty much. I just hope we both make it. I'll be honest, Rose, you're about to meet a tough crowd who want nothing to do with you or where you come from, but things might go a little smoother if you're willing to make some concessions to Ishmari fashion. He snaps his fingers and a servant rushes in with an ornate red and silver gown. Did you have this made for me? His gaze flicks to you to meet yours, full of something that almost looks like gratitude until his lips quirkle into a wry smile. Merely because I'd hate to see you embarrass yourself, but there's only one way to find out if it fits. Wow, looks super pretty. I like it. I dig it. Looks like something you'd wear in like a vampire thing or something. Well, how does it fit? You twirl, and when you face Clarke again, his eyes are wide as he watches your fabric flow around you. It fits, better than I imagined. Ishmari colors suit you. You smile at each other for a moment before he clears his throat and looks away. But, more importantly, you look very proper. My parents will approve. It seems like Clarke's the one who approves. Shh. Clarke holds out his arm and you take it, your pulse racing with what you tell yourself are only nerves. Just, take deep breaths. Remember that whatever you do, or whatever happens, you do have the diplomatic immunity. Great. I feel so much better already. I got diplomatic immunity. Quick, grab the chandelier and fly. You arrive in a beautiful ballroom full of somber courtiers. Aaron and Abilene give you encouraging nods from the crowd, but your attention is drawn to two crowned, imposing figures at the head of the long table. Here goes everything. And remember to bow. Clarke strides over to the king and queen and bows low. Father, mother, we're glad to see you home, Clarke. Although your guest was quite a surprise, I read a respectably dressed one. I'm shocked that any princess of Monterey would be willing to don our colors. I think you'll find her highness is full of surprises. You smile gratefully at Clarke as you incline your head towards his parents. It was the least I could do to thank your majesties for hosting me on such short notice. Short indeed. Classic Idris. At least Queen Layla knows how to make a compliment. The king and queen frown at you expectingly, and you feel every courtier in the room watching you. This is it. You need to bow. You bow deeply, holding the pose as long as you can. Makes the girl knows her etiquette. Unlike the last time she darkened our doorstep. What's that supposed to mean? Clarke, what did the princess do during her last visit when we offered a simple palate cleanser? Clarke shoots you an almost apologetic look before clearing his throat. She spat it out onto the table, Mother. The disrespect! What were you thinking? In my defense, I was 9 and didn't know it was a palate cleanser. I thought it was a whole course, so I drank an entire bowl of fermented milk. Oh God, no. Oh no. Your Majesties, I deeply regret my behavior the last time I was here. You see, she was 9, but I'll go with palate cleanser. I mistook it for a whole course and tried to eat the whole thing, which I now realize was disrespectful to you and your fine chefs. I spent the years since then researching Ishmari customs so that I never make such a rude mistake again. I couldn't have said it better myself. I know, because you don't technically exist. I just picked the diamond choice to see if anything would be different. That is quite considerate of you. A show of actual self-awareness beyond a mere apology. I'm impressed, slightly impressed. Thank you, Your Majesties. As nice it is begin to reminisce about the past, though, I came here to talk about the present. And the future. Come on, I believe in you. Why did you call Clarke home? Layla's brow furrows, and Idris' shoulders tense as the king and queen weigh their answer. It may be difficult for someone of your upbringing to understand, but Ishmar has always been independent, self-sufficient. We've had to be, living beside a neighbor as greedy as Monterey. Oh, so we're greedy. At least my family hasn't spent centuries with sticks up there. Shh, I want to hear this. But despite our best efforts, Ishmar has fallen into dire financial straits. We sent Clarke to Monterey out of desperation, hoping that political or personal alliance would let our kingdom share your prosperity. Personal alliance, meaning if Clarke decided to propose. But as desperate as we were, the more press wrote about Monterey's princess getting closer to the sun, the more we regretted it. History has proven time and again that when Ishmari and Montereyans mix, things go terribly awry. Call it fate, destiny, whatever you like, but despite our desperation, we couldn't let that happen to our son. Your Majesties. You order... No. I believe you'd never intend to, especially after you followed him all the way here. Thank you. But they are still subject to the demands of your kingdom, as Clarke is to ours, and that's still a recipe for heartbreak. Clarke suddenly steps between you and his parents. Mother, father, I think we've tried the court's patience long enough. Isn't it time we open in the night with the Song of the Swords? Very well. You and Lady Elish could show your guest how it is properly done. Noble woman steps out from the crowd, but as you glance between Clarke and the stern king and queen, you get a better idea. Actually, I was hoping Clarke could show me how it's done. You were? You what? Shut up! Of course, I want to experience your court's traditions firsthand. It would be rude to visit your kingdom and not take any interest in it. King and queen exchange somber looks, then Idris nods. I suppose we could let her try. The only person she can embarrass is herself. Go ahead, then. Show us how Monterey's crown princess dances the Song of Swords. Not to be the princess or anything, but I warned you to stay away from the dancing swords. I know, but Clarke's parents need to see that I'm not, well, whatever kind of princess they thought you were. The Monterey and Ishmari don't have to be like oil and water. Alright, just follow Clarke's lead and try not to get impaled. I don't want to lose my sister after finding her, and I certainly can't fill both of our shoes on my own. The crowd of the courtiers parts as Clarke leads you to an open dance floor. Your swords, your highnesses. Aaron approaches, holding a curved blade out to each of you. Clarke takes his with a flourish while you pick yours up more carefully. I'm supposed to dance with this very sharp sword. Wow, okay, so the sword thing is very literal. The dance wouldn't be, very exciting if it wasn't. Aaron steps away as Clarke stands a few paces from you. He holds his sword out and gestures for you to cross yours against it, lowering his voice to a whisper. I don't know what you were thinking, suggesting this, princess. I was thinking about changing your parents' mind. You know the thing I came here for? Clarke's lips curve into a playful smile as he replies. Then let's teach him not to make the same mistake I did when you found me on that balcony. What mistake was that? Underestimating him. Musicians suddenly strike up a tune, flutes and vocals harmonizing while drums set a rhythm underneath. Watch my movements. Clarke deftly leaps backwards, and you do the same. You circle each other, swords held out in front of you, until Clarke's gaze pointedly shifts towards your left side. Clarke lunges forward on your left side, and you easily meet the attack, catching his blade on yours. Nice parry. I'd say nice lunge if it didn't feel like you were trying to stab me. That's the trick of the dance, creating the illusion of danger between two partners who are in perfect sync. I'm hearing lots of sword sounds. Are you alive? Do you still have all of your limbs? For now. Clarke slides his blade along yours until they clash at the hilt. Drawing both of your bodies closer together, you circle each other, barely separated by the blades inches apart. Watch my feet. While his arms stay perfectly steady, you lock his blade with yours. Clarke begins an intricate set of footwork. Left, then right, then right. Your turn. Left, right, right. You begin following his footwork, and the gown billowing around you makes you feel every step like an intricate dance. The crowd applauds, even the king and queen. She has better footwork than half our court.
and she wears those skirts like a true sword dancer.
Well done. The dress did most of the work. Oh, so basically, we didn't need to remember left, right, okay. After spanning a more intricate step, Clarke backs away from you. He meets your gaze as the music builds to a crescendo. Time for the finale, when I toss catch before tossing yours to me. Toss? Tell me you aren't about to throw that... He swings his arm back and sends a sword arcing towards you. Catch it. Really, we can't screw this up. Pixelberry won't let us. The sword glitters in the air, arching towards you with frightening speed. Clarke knows what he's doing. I just have to... You hold out your hand and the hilt lands perfectly in your palm. Trust him. Clarke's eyes widen with admiration as you grin at each other from across the dance floor. You toss your own sword to Clarke, who catches it with a flourish and spins close to you again, sword across his chest. You mimic the pose, and as Clarke bows deeply, his eyes locked with yours, the room bursts into applause. I hear cheering. Oh, I wish I were there to see it. Don't worry, I'm sure someone recorded a video and is going to upload it to whatever its social media Pixelberry has in its game. Not to brag, but I think I just did you proud. An admirable display. You were quite the coordinated pair. Thank you, Your Majesties. And thank you for the dance, Your Highness. Well done, Princess Oz. You exchange flushed grins with Clarke, your heart racing with adrenaline, an intimate dance you just shared until King Idris claps his hands. With the song of swords complete, let us dine. Soon, you're seated at a grand table alongside Clarke, the King and Queen, Aveline, and a few close members of the court. Do they have a Cecil of their own? I'm excited to try some local cuisine. Do not worry, we ask the chefs to make smaller palate cleansers because of courses to avoid any repeating mishaps. I'm never gonna live that down, am I? Nope. Apparently not. As servants begin carrying trays to the table, you notice an empty chair on the king's side, opposite Clarke's chair next to the queen. Aaron, are we waiting for one more guest? Don't worry about it. Before you can press him further, servants lay out a sumptuous dish with tender meat and a rich, herb-filled sauce. Rock hen stew. Oh, what now? This is delicious. I'm glad you appreciate our chef's work. I will admit it's no small feat that you made it through the Song of Swords unscathed. Princess Rose is much tougher than I expected when I first came to Monterey. That dance just proved it to the whole court. I'm not like most other Monterians, Your Majesties, which is why I hope you'll reconsider. Idris' brow furrows and Layla abruptly cuts you off. This is our place to decide, not yours or Clarke's. Clarke's smile suddenly vanishes. Of course it is. You always sweep aside whatever you and whoever you want just for the sake of what's proper. I'm making a scene. Oh dear. Do you think I care? She would have been in favor of making the alliance work, you know that, right? Layla's hand clenches on the arm of her chair, voice crackling with anger.
Don't drag her memory into this.
Your Majesties. Clarke's just trying to do what's right for your kingdom. Clarke and Aaron's visit has already changed hearts and minds in Monterey, mine included. If you'll just give him a chance.
He's already had plenty of chances. Chances to learn that a true prince is bound by policy and tradition, not naive optimism.
As if you'd ever let me forget it. Don't start. I'm so sick of you doing this time and time again, cowering behind tradition instead of making a damn difference. I need some air. He storms out of the room, its door slamming behind him. The other courtiers murmur uncomfortably to each other. Well, that was,
unacceptably rude. I'm sorry for the prince's outburst. Please, let's all return to our meals.
Only you spare a glance for the doors Clarke rushed through, till Aaron whispers to you. He'll be in the north wing. 2 lefts and up a staircase from here. I can cover for you if you go after him. Deal. Aaron taps a knife against a drinking goblet to get the table's attention. All this excitement reminds me of the one-woman show that the Osgore the Brave I saw earlier this year. It began on a cold winter night. I'll leave you to talk to Clarke alone, but from what I overheard, I doubt he'd appreciate the extra company. Good luck, sister. Thanks. As all the guests turn towards Aaron, eager to forget the night's argument, you rush out the door through the castle's ancient corridors. Aaron told me I'd find you here. Are you okay? He looks up from his pacing up and down the halls. His fists are clenched at his sides, his whole body tense with anger. Do I look okay? He sighs, running a hand through his hair. I'm sorry, you didn't come all this way to be snapped at for your trouble. I just couldn't stand another second in that room with them. Does this have to do with your sister? I noticed the empty chair, and then you said she'd want them to make peace. Clarke leans against the nearest wall, his mouth a hard line, but somehow he looks moments away from breaking. It was Addie's chair. We'd always leave it out for her. When she died, my parents, let's just say, that's when I learned how the world really works. He stops himself, shaking his head. After a night of them being so unbearably themselves, I have some feelings I'd love to take out on a few practice dummies. Would you want to join me in the palace sparring rooms, work off some steam? I might be able to feel sharing up to the whole sorry tale. I'd love to. By the way, for those of you saying I work at Pixelberry, no. Then come on, it's down here. Clarke leads you down a staircase to a training room full of all kinds of exercise equipment. Several training dummies stand front and center. You'd actually have good content if I worked there. Yeah, I can hear the sizzling sound from here. Welcome to the one spot in the castle where tradition can't touch me. If I were, tradition, I'd certainly be afraid to mess with anyone in here. Suddenly, Clarke starts removing his jacket and shirt. What are you doing? Changing for a workout. You think the tunic will let me move freely? Clarke tosses his jacket and shirt aside, leaving him bare above the waist, and showing off an impressive set of muscles. That's a firm, fair point. Clarke begins working a punching bag, dancing effortlessly between blows, and even when the bag spins unpredictably in response, I get the impression that you come here a lot. I have often a lot of steam to blow off. It comes with living in this palace. No kidding. I know a little about what that feels like. So join me. You've dealt with plenty of your own struggles in Monterey, Cecil, and now my insufferable parents. Not to mention pretending to be Rose. Clarke steadies the punching bag he was hitting, grabbing a pair of nearby gloves and throwing them at you. Do I look like a punching bag type to you? No, but you've surprised me before. Well, I'm not one to pass up on the chance to prove you wrong. Help me get these gloves on. He helps you strap on the gloves, tugging the straps tight around your wrist. His touch strong, yet surprisingly gentle. Just swing at the bag however you like. Let out whatever you're feeling. Just swing at it however you want. And that's how people break wrists. Oh. Fist bump the bag. Oh. You swing your fist, putting all your strength behind it. The bag swings back. Take that. Oh. That one must have been for Cecil. I might be a bag-punching person after all. You got potential, but your form could use some work. In my defense, punching things is a lot harder when you're wearing this much silk. All the more reason to practice defending yourselves in silks, princess. Danger can strike at any time, and besides, you can feel your cheeks warm as his gaze trails admirably down your dress. Silk looks very fetching on you. Then I'll take any advice you can give. He steps close to you, resting calloused hands on your shoulders and gently angling your body. Your breath hitches at the close contact. You need to push through your legs when punching, because then he guides your arm through a punch, his breath brushing against your neck. You're punching with the whole weight of your body, not just your arm. Now try again. Following his advice, you throw another punch, and sending the punching bag spinning backwards. Man, look at that spin. I'm stronger than I thought. You just needed some instruction from yours truly. He shows you a few more moves until you're on your own, punching the bag like it's your worst enemy. Whose face do you see on the punching bag right now? You wouldn't think me very princely if I told you. Do you really think I'd judge you? I thought you knew me better than that. I suppose I do. He winds up a left jab, sending the bag spinning. I don't see any faces. I see this whole palace, hundreds of years protecting tradition above all else, and the people whose lives have been ground away beneath that pursuit. No wonder you're swinging so hard. You should have seen my sister, Nadia. Had the best right hook of all of us. Aaron and I would dread sparring her. All three of you used to spar together? All the time. The whole kingdom loved her, but we were inseparable. We had dreams to change the world together. But then my sister got sick. Glioblastoma. It's a very aggressive brain cancer. Oh, Clarke, that's awful. Yeah. All the dreams in the world couldn't protect her from that. But she never let her sickness bring her spirit down. Every day she'd still be in here while we trained, correcting my form ruthlessly from the benches, even when she couldn't spar herself. He lands another blow on the punching bag, his expression darkening. When she was almost out of time, I made this plan for her funeral to be a public event, to raise funds for cancer research. She loved the idea, said that if she had to go, she still wanted to change the world for the better, like we always planned. That was a very noble thing to do. His jaw tenses. He drives his fist into the punching bag with each new word. It could have been. But nobility didn't stop my parents from vetoing the idea on the spot. Why? Every royal funeral for generations has been private, family-only affair. My parents would say it's due to propriety. But I always thought it was to keep the people from thinking we're flawed humans just like them. That we feel normal things like pain or loss. Then they canceled the whole thing, buried Addie in like some secret, like we should be ashamed of. All in the name of privacy and some damn tradition. His fists drop almost mid-blow, his shoulder slumping with years of hurt and rage. And that's when I learned that even a prince can be powerless in the face of fear and tradition. Clarke, I'm so sorry they did that to both of you. She deserved better, and you deserved a chance to mourn her the way you wanted to. That's just what happens when you try to make a difference, Princess. Something always gets in the way. It's better to leave the world as it is and enjoy your time with the people you have left. That's a hard one. That really is a hard one. You think about the day you first met Rose, how aimless your life felt, and how easy her life as a princess seemed back then. I know a little about what it's like to feel powerless, and now I understand why you feel that way too. I'm not saying we always are powerless, but I just want you to know you are alone. You rest your hand on Clarke's shoulder, and some of the tension leaves his frame. He smiles at you, the expression unusually open. Thank you, Rose. Maybe there's more of your sister could pass on. If she helped teach you sparring, maybe you could help teach me in the same way. Like passing on a torch? Exactly. And as a princess, I feel like I should know some self-defense. True. You should be able to handle yourself in a scrap, considering all the trouble you get into. Hey, I don't get into that much, says the woman who followed me to the realm of her kingdom's lifelong enemy. Okay, fair point. He abandons his punching bag and motions you to join him on a padded mat in the center of the room. Alright, well, since I started learning as a kid, I know a lot of moves focused on fighting someone bigger than you. My sister used to say that when fighting someone taller than you have to bring them down to your level. Which usually means, like, taking out their knees, sweeping the leg, stuff like that. You look up at Clarke, noting the height difference. So you want me to try that on you? Don't tell me you're regretting this already. No, I'm just strategizing how to bring you down. You could try putting me in a shoulder lock to throw me off balance. He advances on you, fists raised, as you step backward, knowing the training room's wall is not far behind you. If you can pull it off. Try to pin him. You reach up to Clarke's shoulders, wrapping your gloves around him and pulling him down. His balance shifts enough for you to trip him and sending him falling to the floor. Oof. You quickly straddle his body, pinning him to the ground and hand raised over him. That was very neatly done. Well, I knew I could take you down. Of course you could. I'm a good instructor, after all. You suddenly become aware of how close your face hovers over his, the warmth of his body pinned beneath yours, his chest rising and falling, until a clock chimes throughout the pause. I think that's enough training for one night. You're probably right. If I learn too much, I might accidentally put Cecil in a headlock the next time he glares at me. I'd hate for your court to blame me and all of Ishmar for training you. You help Clarke up, and he reaches for his jacket and shirt. As he shrugs them back on, he gives you one of those rare, genuine smiles. Thank you for listening to my sister's story, Rose. I'm glad you came to Ishmar, even if it's only a brief visit. Who said it'll be brief? Your parents haven't banished me yet. No, but they'll decide both of our fates tomorrow, just as they've always decided everything. Are you really the only one? Or are they the only ones who get to decide what we do? His brow furrows. I suppose we'll find out in the morning. You wake up to an early knock on your door. Rubbing your eyes, you stumble over to open it. Faye, what time is... Good morning, Princess Rose. Who is Faye? Oh, one of the ladies in waiting. Forgot. Here, I was here for a minute. Can I help you with something? I thought you should know that Clarke has called an audience with his parents about you and Monterey. He rushed off in a hurry, which means he's probably about to do something foolish that we, won't want to miss. Then we need to find him now. Aaron leads you to the castle's ballroom where Clarke is already standing before his parents. I'm going back to Monterey with Princess Rose to make this chance for peace work, no matter what you say. King Idris and Queen Layla exchange exasperated looks, but then the king's expression softens. If you truly are adamant about it, I suppose it would be difficult to stop you. And the princess has proven herself more honorable than we expected. I can't believe it. I never thought I'd see the day. You may go, but be careful, Clarke. When this hope for peace withers on the vine, as efforts with Monterey always have. Remember that your mother and I warned you. Clarke strides away from his mother and father, a grin spreading across his face as he spots you and Aaron. So, you just got here in time for the fireworks. You stood up to them. It was very brave of you, Prince Clarke. Why, thank you, I thought so too. I'm proud of you, old friend. Assuming I can join you on your return trip. You'd better. I'd hate to have to explain to Lord Norman why you missed your second date. Then you both had better back. By the end of the day, we'll all be back in Monterey. Meanwhile, back at Boulevard University, you head downstairs after the disastrous warehouse party to oddly empty common room. Hello, is anybody here? Nope, they've abandoned you. What's left of us? When I woke up this morning, a couple other newbies were gone. They must have jumped ship for the Thetas after last night. I hate to say it, but we're worse off now than before we threw the party. Let's not be too hasty. There's no way we could have known things would go so badly. But we should have. The evidence was piling up all semester. This house is cursed. Oh, whatever. There's no way a literal curse could be behind the Delta's troubles. Or is there? Yeah, it's the curse of Stephanie. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Love your beautiful faces. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description below. Links to social media, Discord, and if you like to support me and my content. And then you can also have other ways of doing your support. There is the thanks button. There's also the join button. All of those have many different options, and they're a great way of giving back. Make sure to keep them diamonds flowing, the lights on, and making sure that I get help with medical. But with that being said, like I said initially in the video, no, I do not work for Pixelberry. There's been a number of people come out of the woodwork lately saying that. No, I do not. And I make this clear. I do not even live near Pixelberry headquarters. I do not work for them. And again, we would have had a Most Wanted too if I would have worked for them, let alone we would have had a crossover event with Bloodbound and the one werewolf book, you know, with the vampire hunter and all that. I forget the name of that book. It's been so long, and it's so sad that it only got one book. When they even had one Diamond Choice crossover in that book, with only just, I think it was Jax at the time. I honestly, there it would have been amazing. It would have been like a DC crossover, you know, where they do those on TV as of late. Do those quite frequently anymore, but it's just something that, you know, again, if I worked for them, I think I'd be a little bit better off than I am currently. But two, no, we'd actually, you know, there wouldn't be me making videos speaking out about things. There wouldn't be me, you know, talking, you know, holding them accountable and everything else. Even though you should be doing that if a, say, employer or whatnot does something wrong, but that's a discussion and whatnot for another time. But no, I do not work for them. Like I said, the content would be better. Anyway, without further ado, I love your beautiful faces. You know what to do. And thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoy. Peace out.